Hello everybody, Kyprotonic here once again. Today I have a Black 2 White 2 Pokemon Wi-Fi battle against an opponent called Trollygon-Z. Now quickly looking at his team in particular, the main threats that stand out to me straight away was his Terrakion, Dragonite, Garchomp and Latios. Now when I first saw these pokes I thought, wow, this is going to be very devastating for my team. If I don't pay attention to what sets they could be or predict carefully, then I could really be in big serious trouble during this game. His Ferrothorn and Victini are not really much of a threat, but the powerhouses of Garchomp and Dragonite and Terrakion. And Latios could also be like Choice Specs, so I mean, I've got to be careful against these things. I'm kind of using like that Slowbro, Amoonguss and Heatrancore with a bit of range support from Politoed and Tornadus T, and Terrakion just for the choice banded effect of being very powerful. So my opponent is actually going to lead with a Terrakion, and I'm going to lead with Heatran. Now, to be honest, Heatran was actually one of the better pokes to lead with this game, just because I was actually safe enough to see what he would actually lead with, and then get like a somewhat of a bit of information on what set one of his leading pokes would be. But it turns out this Terrakion is a sub SD set, which really sucks for me because I wasn't expecting it. I was actually expecting maybe Choice Bandit, Choice Scarf, but yeah, these sets are still common these days, and I didn't really anticipate that. I did actually have the Roar on my Heatran, but I didn't really want to take the risk there. You know, it could have gone for the close combat. And to be honest, with it being a Terrakion, that could have been the end of my Heatran. So Slowbro, at the time, was probably the better scenario, the better perk to switch into. But to be honest, that Terrakion behind the sub was a massive threat straight off the start. So now I'm forced to bring in my own Terrakion. I don't know if I'm playing, I should say, with Speed Tides here, but I go for my own close combat, and that does take out the Terrakion. Thankfully, that's one threat out the way, but now in comes another one straight away off the start. It's his Latios. I'm actually going to switch into my Heatran just to take the predicted Psychic move, Psyshock, Psychic, whichever it turns out to be. So this is actually a good matchup for me now. I'm actually going to go for the Stealth Rock on the predicted switch out into something. Want to show what he would like to go out into. It turns out this Garchomp. Now, I actually scratched my head a couple of weeks back when I actually bumped into another opponent, and he was using Garchomp, and I actually didn't realize this thing went straight back to OU, and I'm like, wow. Feels like 4th gen again a little bit, but hey, Garchomp is a great Pokemon. Use it well, and use it. You might as well use it and abuse it while it's still in the OU metagame. I'm not even playing it, I'll probably go back to Uber, but while it's still there, you might as well use it as much as possible. So, I go for Protect just to scout what this Garchomp wanted to try and do, but in the end he sort of went for like a move predicting my switch out. So he switched into this Victini. I went for the Fire type move there just to take some damage upon the Victini whilst it switched it in. I'm going to roll the Victini out because knowing I actually saw what he was going to go for, which was a Thunderbolt. And thankfully this Heatran is sort of like stalemate at most of his perks, and it's actually allowing me to get the like switch advantage or like play advantage, mainly just based on the fact that I'm actually getting to see what he's trying to lock himself into moves or what moves he's trying to go for. So yeah, he's kind of forced to be frustrated at the moment, which is my opponent, and he really can't do too much. So after all of that, I take out a Victini, which is great. I don't know if that Victini would have been much use to him anyway, based on the fact that I do have a Politoed and a Tornadus Fairy form just in the wings, and even the Terrakion. I'm not too sure what this set was on that Victini, so yeah, whatever. In came the Dragonite there. I go for the Roar. I was kind of playing risky there. I could have probably been smacked by an Earthquake there, but I just wanted to see what he was going to try and go for there with the Dragonite. But I roar him out into Garchomp, and knowing that I'm kind of frustrated, and very much so, with the Protects constantly, or every other move from it seems to be, I go into my Tornadus to take the immune Earthquake. I'm going to predict his switch out into maybe the Ferrothorn. Going to go for the safe U-turn, and going to go straight into my Terrakion. So that's, I believe I'm just playing pretty much better on sort of predicting, or my team just seems to be a little bit well built for his team, even though that he has all of these massive threats roaming in his team. I think like Garchomp could be CB, and Latios could be choice Specs. And even that substitute Sword Stance variant of his Terrakion, that was a little bit scary. So like his team is very powerful, but I'm holding up well. I go into Politoed just to take the somewhat of a predictable move, which is Outrage or Earthquake. I wasn't really too bothered what it was, but he locks himself into Outrage, gets a 2-turn Outrage. Sorry, my apologies. He actually gets a 3-turn Outrage, so I'm going to go to Heatran, just going to go for Protect, whilst he's locked into that 3rd turn of Outrage. Protect will down. Pretty much confuse the Garchomp, which now enables me to go for the Lava Plume on the off chance that he would switch out, which he does, goes into Latios. I'm really hoping for like a burn and just getting some like residual damage racking up on that Latios, because that would be great, but it doesn't turn out to be that case where I don't get anything like that. So, yep. It turns out this actually is a expert belted Latios. So in the end, you know, me thinking like every Latios is choice specs and every Terrakion is choice banded, I assume that like 90% of the times the same set that I use is the same set my opponents usually use. But, you know, that's really stupid thinking. I should actually be somewhat anticipating all of that. You know, it could be this set, it could be that set, but, you know, I kind of just assume it would be the main major threat set. But whatever, it doesn't turn out to be that. So, yeah, he does eventually take out my Heatran. I go into Tornadus T, go for the U-turn, just to rack up some damage, knowing that I'm actually faster than the thing. And here is where I actually did work out the Latios was actually expert belted in the end. You know, it actually used 2 different moves, and yeah, I didn't see life orb damage, so expert belted is probably the correct set that he was actually running there. So, yep, gonna go back into Tornadus, gonna go for the U-turn, take that thing out, and now I go into Terrakion. I figured, you know, I think the max speed on a Garchomp is like 340 something. I think maybe 46 or so. I'm actually Jolly, CB Terrakion. So, I think I am CB. No, wait, yes I am CB. I'm just trying to work out if I am actually Jolly Nature. I cannot remember for some reason. Yep, been a long time since I've actually looked into the sets of these pokes, but yep. His Garchomp doesn't actually take me out, because I was questioning myself, was that actually a Choice Scarf set? I was actually going to assume maybe Choice Banded would easily take out Terrakion, as it doesn't exactly have the best defense in the world. I do not know. This is where things get a little bit confusing for myself, because it's been a very long time since I've actually used most of these perks, and I'm like, whoa, this thing's faster. Am I slower, or am I just like gonna die here, or is this Garchomp like different? You know, things are just running through my head like too much things at once, and I'm just like overcomplicating everything like usual. But whatever, I do take out the Garchomp, and he's only down to his last Pokemon, which is this Dragonite here. And even on resisted damage, this close combat is taking massive chunks out on this Dragonite. Now, I know I could have actually switched out into my Tornadus T here anytime, and I kind of figured, even though Dragonite actually has good special defense, it is a choice specs modest Hurricane, and you know, you don't want to be playing games against Tornadus T, of course not. But I was just really thinking that maybe Terrakion was going to pull off the sweep here itself, you know, because I mean, it's cleaned up quite a lot of pokes this game, so I thought maybe it would be able to rack up this Dragonite here. And yep, I have no more moves, so I use Struggle, and even with the Struggle, look how much that does. That still does a respectable amount of damage. So yeah, I struggle myself away there, Fane of course, and I'm also just down to my Tornadus T. Thankfully, he doesn't get up to his multi-skill ability there of being at 4 HP. I mean, if he got up to 4 HP, well, I probably could have still been able to take it out. I mean, it's Tornadus T. It's a beast. So, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye.